Oh, look at that. Right into no video. Fantastic. Fantastic. How's everyone doing? Is that are we coming back? Do we have video? We have video. Look at that. Look at that. Absolute pro. Absolute pro. How's everyone doing today? How's everyone doing? All right. We got a lot to cover. Stream looks good. Russell, how are you doing? I'm glad to be back. Let me tell you, the last 2 weeks have maybe been the busiest 2 weeks in my life. That's probably not true, but they have been close. They have been close. Very, very close. I have been very, very busy. So I apologize. There's actually some stuff that I don't know. I also have 2 weeks of news to cover, so I just had to pick and choose. And I didn't even get that much time because, like I said, the last 2 weeks of my life have been maybe some of the biggest, from tornadoes to work travel to, yeah, just life. All right, but we can jump right into it. You know, we always like to start off with security, so I figured we'd start off with security. And, you know, tornado as in the web server? No. Tornado, like, welcome to the Midwest of the US. Oh, type of tornado. We did not get hit directly with a tornado. There was tornadoes around us, though. And they caused damage to the property, which means I have trees down that I haven't even gotten to clear because other things have kept me working until late hours of the night. So, that's what I'm doing this weekend. If I'm not streaming tomorrow, or when I'm not streaming tomorrow, I am trying to clear trees off of our paths. Because while we didn't get hit directly with the tornado, we definitely got hit by a massive storm. It was a bit windy. Yeah. It was a bit windy. Also, there's been, I doubt any of you guys know this, but there's been rampant flooding around here. So we've been trying to help other people and whatnot. So, yeah, it's been like nonstop storm. I was gone for a little over a week, and the entire time I was gone and the entire time I've been back, it's been nonstop storming. It's been wild and cold because we're still role playing as Canada for some reason. For some reason, it's still just cold for being April. So, all right, let's get into the news. As I said, we like to start off with, you know what, before we start off with security, should join tomorrow. Tomorrow, I think we're going to try to rag our AI. I'm going to show off what we trained the last times. Some of those AIs are pretty dented. And we're going to try to rag an AI to do the same thing that we did, that we tried to train an AI to do. So if you'd like to join and do that, please do. Okay. We might also program something. I feel like writing some Rust. So we'll write some Rust tomorrow too, because I'm a little rusty with Rust. I'm Rust squared, rusty Rust. Okay. So let's get into it. We like to start off with a little bit of security. And I found something I found quite interesting. There's like ways to do security, then there's ways to not do security, and then there's ways I never even imagined to handle a security incident. And you know, I have to tell Oracle, I actually appreciate teaching me new ways to handle security incidences, because that's what they did. They taught me that really you can just gaslight people into believing that you didn't have a security incident. That's probably the better way of dealing with it. Now, you can look at Oracle's security incident response statement, their corporate stance on it. Upon discovery of a security event, Oracle incident response plans support rapid and effective event triage, including advanced investigation, response, remediation, recovery. This is really, really great. I love it. They say all the right words here. But then you can just deny it. And then when people call you out and say, I don't know, maybe it's not true. Maybe you were actually breached, like, I don't know, CloudSeek had to do. CloudSeek, let me make this a little easier to read. CloudSeek basically said, I don't know, we reviewed all of the data, and it sure looks like you were hacked, Oracle. We can't say for certain, but we could say you probably were actually hacked. And then Oracle can deny it again, because that's what they do. And then they can actually just release all of the information that they stole, and Oracle will finally say, maybe we were hacked, but guess what? Maybe we were hacked, but it was not Oracle Cloud. It was some deprecated systems. And then, since all those records are out there, maybe we'll just pull them up and look at what it actually is, because we could do that, right? Yeah, we can. And it actually happens that Oracle Cloud was hacked. And better yet, it was hacked by a CVE 2021. This is the year. We can go look that up. 2021, this detail. It's a bug in Oracle Access Manager, the thing that provides access. And it turns out they haven't even patched their own systems. They have a 4-year-old bug that they haven't even patched in their own systems. So this now, to me, makes more sense as to why they try to deny it so hard. It's pretty bad. So yeah, I learned something new. How to handle security incidences. 101 from Oracle. There's a lot of different people. Deny, deflect, repeat was their breach communication. It's fantastic, and yeah, absolutely fantastic. But we can move on. We have other interesting security stuff that I think that you guys might enjoy. That was just Oracle Clouds. It does not match what they say their stance is on security response. They need to update this to deny, reflect, replete. Maybe put gaslight in there as well. Some, slide gaslighting in there a little bit. I just want, this to reflect how they deal with security stances. All right. A new Linux kernel Rust module. So we've seen Rust taking the Linux kernel by storm. Some hate it, some love it, mostly hate it. We've seen people walk away from the Linux kernel because of Rust. We've seen some people asked to leave the Rust kernel because of Rust, the Rust kernel. Oh gosh, that's fighting words right there. The Rust kernel. And we're seeing some advancements there. One of the cool things that I saw this article and I read it and I was like, oh, that's pretty cool. A rootkit detection system that comes in Rust. So a new Rust-based kernel module designed specifically for detecting rootkits has been released, offering enhanced capabilities to identify these particularly elusive threats. It's really cool. I don't know how rootkit systems work or rootkit detection systems work, but if you did want to know, this is actually a cool way to start to understand how those might work, how they might try to detect a rootkit. Yeah, and I just wanted to give it a shout out because, you know, people have been fighting for the ability to do this, and it's pretty cool to see some of that stuff come to fruition. All right, let's move on to some other. I know, Dutch. I know. It took the hair right off. You know, a piece of wood came that close. No, I had a look. I get a little scruffy. And then I go on a work trip. Gotta clean up just a little bit. I understand my place in this world. Just had to clean up just a little. And my hair was at a weird state. My hair was at a very, very can't say this stupid word, but it was at a very weird state. That weird, awkward state where it's not long enough to pull into a ponytail, and it's not short enough to leave like free. So that really left me with like hair clips and I don't know, a hairband. And that just does not feel professional to me. Like I could not find I couldn't figure it out. And so I just cut it. It was at the weird length. There's just nothing to do about it. That's what I was trying to say. Yes, but I'm not going to say it because for some reason my body decided that word was not great. Yeah, I look like 15 years younger afterwards. Yeah, we got wind and water. We got 4 of the elements. Thankfully, we didn't get fire. Or earth. Just wind and water, which was rough enough for most people. My house sits on a hill, so for the most part, pretty good. And no trees hit it, which was really good because we have trees like right up to the house, which is cool, but also not great when there's wind. All right, the last thing that I wanted to show off for security was something I think you guys could actually take advantage of if you're in GitHub. So GitHub released, they finally released their security campaigns into GA. So if you're on GitHub Teams or GitHub Enterprise Cloud, you can do these security campaigns, which are actually pretty cool. So you can go to the security tab and create a security campaign that allows you to use these templates and filters to create campaigns for security around your code and stuff. And so yeah, there's a bunch of stuff here. So if you're using GitHub Actions, this has gone GA. If you're trying to take a more prudent approach to your security inside of your code base and you use GitHub, this is actually pretty cool. I recommend that you guys give it a check. I'll leave this link here for you all. So you can go check it out. And yeah, you guys know that security is a big deal to me. I think that every engineering team should take it pretty seriously. And yeah. All right, let's move on. GitHub turns 20. This was actually pretty cool. I want you guys to go give it a check too. Security campaign. So this just helps showcase security work you've done as a community thing. I'm not sure what you mean there. If you're talking about security campaigns, that's not true. It helps you. The idea about security campaigns is basically helping you manage and burn down backlogs of security issues. So if you're wanting to do like a week of security related stuff, you could leverage this to do that. I mean, I guess there's that aspect of it too. I suppose there's that aspect of it too. Yeah. Yeah. I hadn't thought of it that way. That's a good idea. I mean, that's not bad either. So it's a win-win. 2 wins. I always need to give more time between things so that you guys have more time to, because I forget about the delay. And that's my bad. I always need to give a little bit more time because you guys have great feedback, great comments. All right. Git turns 20. There was a Q&A with Linus Torvalds. Now, this was really... Wait, there's a YouTube video here. This was... Did they not link it at the top? They have a video. You can just read it. This is the reading portion. Is this the video? No, this is not the video. Clear out the transfer. Watch the full video. Oh wait, this is the video. Okay, never mind. So you can watch the video. I thought it was on YouTube. I watched it on YouTube. Okay, it is on YouTube. Okay. I was gonna say I watched it on YouTube. Okay, so cool. It's an interesting video, and I think one of the things you can take up from this is the inspiration of sometimes, you know, fixing your needs when you're doing that and making something for your needs can actually have a larger impact on the community. You know, others have the same problem you do. Sometimes, you know, sometimes we share problems. Anyways, it was a cool interview. I just wanted to show it so you guys could see it. I don't know that there was anything like groundbreaking when I listened to it. Like, it's stuff that we've heard before. It's stuff that we've heard before. And nothing. But if you're not familiar with the story of Git, I would give it a go check it out. Just do it. All right. The next thing we have, there was a big Llama release. And with big Llama releases, there's always a little bit of Llama drama, which I particularly love. We need to do a community dev hackathon where we build a GitHub clone in Rust so you can learn Rust. No, thank you. No, thank you. I would not mind doing a community hackathon. But it's not on my list of things to do this year. Not this year. Probably not next year. Hackathons are difficult. You're asking a lot of time from people, and hackathons are difficult. I'd like to do a hackathon. I'd have to come up with a good way to make it fun. All right. So with any good release of Llama, there is a little bit of drama. If you didn't know, Llama 4 has been released. Leading intelligence, unrivaled speed and efficiency. There's 3 different models that you can check out. There's a Scout, Maverick, and Behemoth. Behemoth is still training. It's still in the process. And there's actually a third secret. There's a third secret one that is designed to chat like a teenager. So that's where the drama gets in. But if you're looking at trying to leverage Llama 4 in your new model, because supposedly it does really well, we'll talk about how I have talked about how benchmarks are just the worst in general. And AI benchmarks actually seem to be the worst of the worst. Like AI benchmarks are worse than other type of benchmarking. I know it sounds crazy, but it's true. AI benchmarking is pretty bad. All right. so we have these four, but and if you wanted to leverage them, if you wanted to, all the major clouds have Llama 4 available out there. So I checked AWS, Azure, and Cloudflare all have it. I didn't check GCP because if you're using GCP, you're using Gemini. Let's be honest. Everybody loves Gemini, and I don't know why. But there is this arena, this chatbot arena. Basically, it's a benchmark, but it's a benchmark where real people try to check and see if they can tell what's they rank them. Users rank them. It's a very feely benchmark, but I actually don't hate it. Now, that being said, Llama 4 jumped up on this. Now, it's been removed, which I find very interesting, but Llama 4 jumped up high on this. And then you saw confirmed chat model score was kind of fake news, experimental chat version. Now, I'm actually going to argue against this. As far as I've understood, these models are very much not designed to do one thing, but try to do everything and be able to be modified to do one thing. So they kind of feel like Llama 4 went after being a base that can be either ragged or trained to do a specific thing. That's my understanding of these models. Now, maybe I'm wrong, but I went through all of their documentation on what it was, and to me, these models felt like less of a this is the end product, and more of this is meant to be a base product. Again, I could be wrong. Maybe I was reading between lines that didn't exist, but that's what I read. And so to me, honestly, the fact that they made one specifically to chat doesn't really mean anything. Because other ones do that as well. If you go and open OpenAI, they have models for reasoning, models for this. They fine tune them to do a specific thing. So I don't know. Now, it was an experimental version. Should they have released that? Probably. But they didn't. And so that was the whole drama. The thing is, it performed very well. And they were very open about it. So to me, I'm not sure what the drama was about, honestly. They were like, hey, we made one for chatting. We made one for chatting that was meant to be a chatbot. And it did really well at, guess what? Surprise, chatting. I don't know. Kudos to them. But anyways, that was the that was the drama. It's out there. Happy birthday. Two chatbots enter, one chatbot hallucinates. I'm gonna try Llama 4 with a small version. I'm out of disk space between training. Like, I have 2 terabytes of disk space on Linux, which just is not enough space. I need to actually add another disk to my Linux install, because models alone can take up just a lot of space. And especially if you have like 4, 5, 6 of them. Yeah. Now, we're going to, instead of looking to try training LLMs, until we get a little bit better, the end is QLoRa and LoRa. Even with QLoRa and LoRa, unless if you have a 5090, like top of the line, I can't even train many of the models that are out there with my 4070. Just cannot do it. Even compressing it into as little of a space as possible, reducing the things to 4-bit and whatnot. It's a bit painful. What we are going to do more of, though, is we're going to do some more just standard machine learning stuff that's not LLMs. And we're going to learn more machine learning based principles. And we're probably just going to rag an AI if we want it. How do I convince my wife to let me get the next new model of those modular Linux laptops? You know what? When I figure out a way, when it works with my wife, I'll let you know. I'll let you know. Dude, you can't type Arena. I can't spell Arena. So, you know, to each their own. We both end up not being able to type it for different reasons. All right. I was horrified by something I saw, and I want to know if people have experienced this, because if you have, I want you to reach out to me. I want to know your experience a little bit more, and I want to speak out against it if somebody is thinking about doing this. So, I have not been in the dating world for a long time. I didn't know what the word catfishing meant at all. But I heard that there's this thing called corporate catfishing. And it's not helping you. It's not helping you. We all want to attract the best talent. We all want to get that best employee in there. And what I can tell you is that the best employee is one that you can build a trust relationship with. Because I don't know if you guys have ever read the 5 dysfunctions, but if you haven't, go read the 5 dysfunctions. But the base principle that you need is trust. And if you're doing this, if you're lying about things during the hiring process, you're not building trust. And without trust, you can't have a highly performant team. You can't have a team that is going to be there and be able to perform. So this top talent theory that you have is hogwash because you ruin it. You don't have top talent if they're unhappy to be there. You don't have top talent if you can't trust them, or they can't trust you and they can't build upon that trust relationship. I probably take it to a more extreme. I'm probably overly honest when I do my interviews, but that's because I want to build teams with trust. There's no point in lying. This is ridiculous. All this does is shoot you in the foot when they do join. Right, Russell. Right. Tell them the truth about how awful some things are. If they recoil in horror, they are not going to help you anyways. Absolutely, Russell. It's not like you can keep it from them when they join. It's not helping you at all. You're going to just end up, and the thing is, if they leave in 6 months, if they leave in a year, you're not getting your money's worth from them. Like, just from a financial standpoint. Especially if they've been disgruntled the entire time. They're not working efficiently, they're not working effectively, they're not going to work as a team. You have a disgruntled employee. You spent a lot of time hiring and onboarding them to get nothing from them. I just find this type of behavior to be asinine and stupid. I cannot come up with a logical reason to do this. Every logical step makes me want to puke and be like, how did you hire this person as your leader? Anyways, I'd be interested. If you guys have been a victim of this, please reach out to me on Discord. I'd love to hear your story. I'd love to understand better what you think the motives were behind that, as well as the outcomes. I won't share anything publicly. I have never been a party to this. A lot of the times when I'm in an interview, I'm also interviewing the person that I'm interviewing with. I probably ask a lot more questions than maybe some do, than the people I interview with. In fact, when I'm speaking with like the leadership portion, I ask for half of the time for my questions. I'm gonna sit there and interview them, and if that means we need a 2-hour interview, that means we need a 2-hour interview, because if they're gonna ask me an hour of questions, I have at least an hour of questions to ask them about how they deal with stuff. I'm a painful person to interview. Okay, but anyways, I just didn't know that this was happening, and if it is happening, I'd like to speak out about it, against it. This is horrible. All right. We have 2 things in cloud, and they're not from the cloud giants. Many of the cloud giants had things that I considered mundane, but Cloudflare actually had 2 things I thought you guys should know about, which seems kind of cool. I've actually emailed Cloudflare to see if I cannot do a stream with them. We'll see if they accept that or not. Russell playing 5D chess over here. 5D chess. You're encouraging bad behavior on hiring so that you get the good hires. You also only pay them £5 per hour of work, right? That's like the max you would offer a senior engineer, right? £5 an hour. 4.5 really is what you're targeting. You pay. Give me some of those free interns. That's what I need to do. I've been playing this game all wrong. I've been here trying to help you all be better competitors to me. And that's just been my mistake. That's been my mistake. Like, been training you all to be my competitors. My mistake. My mistake. Anyhow, let's get back to the news. Cloudflare released AutoRag, a fully managed retrieval augmented generation on Cloudflare, which seems really, really cool. We are hopefully doing a RAG-based solution locally tomorrow. I reached out to them and told them that we were learning how to RAG stuff, and that if they would work with me and give me free credits to play around with auto-ragging on Cloudflare, that would be really cool. And I would do it on stream. So we'll see if they do that. I would love to try it out. I was trying to read exactly what auto-ragging was, and it looks like it tries to take some of the complexity of setting up and maintaining this stuff, like this section right here for you, which sounds pretty cool. Just kind of provides those things for you. But understanding what they wrote and understanding their pretty diagrams is way different than actually getting your hands dirty with it if it works really well and stuff like that. So anyways, I'd love to give it a try to see what the pros and cons of leveraging it is. But tomorrow we're just ragging. We're ragging the normal way. Depending on the pay. Cloudflare Workers is now GA. Production ready, durable execution. This is pretty cool. I think workflows is actually an unsung hero. So durable execution of workflows is actually a secret hero to scaling stuff and managing stuff. I have been finding myself to loving durable execution of workflows. Workflows that have durable execution. Let me rephrase it that way. There's workflow engines that don't have durable execution, and sometimes you don't want durable execution. That's fine. But making sure that you have that is really awesome, and Cloudflare brought that to their cloud, and it's GA now. It's been in beta, but yeah, it's cool. Like I said, I feel like we don't talk about workflows enough, durable execution workflows was kind of the basis for the Null cloud. It was a little bit different, but it was kind of like write your own workflow step and you could tie them together however you want, like, and the communication would be handled for you. So the more I've thought about this, the more I realize that the original thought of the Null cloud was actually kind of durable execution workflows, but with your own code in them, which anyways, yeah. Talking about being paid, we've heard about AI taking over engineering jobs. And everybody was saying it. Everybody from the alt man himself to Bill Gates to Steve Jobs. I don't know if Steve Jobs said that. I can't say that. There was other famous Bernie. Why did I say Bernie Madoff? That's not who was talking about it. I'm talking about the Salesforce person, and I actually apologize for lumping you in with Madoff, because that's not who I was meaning. The Salesforce guy. Let's just do that. We'll call him the Salesforce guy. SG. All right. So everybody is talking about how Right. Elon Sanders, Bernie Sanders, and Madoff. Neither of those would have been referring to this. But you know what? I meant the Salesforce person. Anyways, everybody's been saying that, and I have been calling their bluff on this the entire time. And so I have been somewhat vindicated because just recently, Sam Altman says AI will make coders 10 times more productive. Not replace. This is what I have been saying for so long. I just need to get that out there. It makes me feel so much better because I have been saying the best that I see as the curve is going, as I have been plotting out the curve, as we've been managing this, the only thing I see is making us more productive. Like, that's what they need to be shooting for. And I think that this was a big problem with Devin. Devin didn't go out there and say, hey, we'll make your really expensive engineers 5% more productive. 10% more. If you could tell me that you'll make them 10%, not 10 times, I said 10%, that would be easy worth the $500 a month. We'll get to that $500 a month because that is changing. That's an easy sell. And so I think they've gone around this all wrong. They were going after the hype. They were chasing the hype and the venture capitalists. And now as the pressure is mounting, as they're getting closer to fruition of what these things can do, as that curve is slowing down, they're stepping back and saying, hey, well, let's change what we're stating. Bill Gates say AI will replace humans for most things, but you wouldn't want to watch computers play baseball. He also said a bunch of other things. There was some other things that he said. One of the things that he said in this was that he doesn't think that they're going to take engineering or coding jobs, just accelerate them. In video says the food chain of the career might. Oh, this was the other one. This is the other one. I was thinking of Salesforce person, but there's also Jensen. I don't remember last name. Jensen. Let's see. Jensen. I don't know how to pronounce last name, so we'll just go with Jensen. Yeah. I see the word, Russell. I see the word. How do I pronounce that? I've never heard it pronounced. You know, he's never offered to meet me in person. I have said that I'd have him here at the farm, let him meet me in person. You know, we could hang out for a weekend together, discuss ideas, you know, cross brain wires of the super elite brain talent. He's never accepted so far. Smith. Yeah, Jensen Smith. All right. So that being said, something I'm very happy with, and I don't know why this happened. After Sam Altman said all of this stuff, after Sam Altman has been the closed source, after I've written 3/4 of a script making fun of closed spend AI, maybe they're going to be a little bit more open. Maybe they're going to be a little bit more open. Now, I'm going to say that we're going to have to wait. We're going to have to wait and see. I'm excited. And we'll see. We'll see if this actually comes to fruition. And what it means. They have been very much, I mean, OpenAI used to be the OpenAI model. They used to produce, they were the ones that led this up to GPT 2.5, I believe. I think it was with 3 where they, and do you remember what they said with 3? Do you remember? 3 is really, really dented, by the way, like really dented in today's standard. They said that it was too powerful to release on the population. Too powerful. That didn't age well. The jar AI. Oh man, I have this whole graphic and stuff for closed-penned AI. You know, it's closed and open, but a jar AI is also fantastic. I might have to work that into the script. I might have to work a jar into this script. Now, since we're talking about AI, let's talk about the last little bit of AI news. Not the last bit of AI news. We have 2 things. First thing is, people keep raving about Gemini 2.5 Pro is now available without limits and for cheaper than Claude A and 4.0. And then you'll also see news like Sec Gemini 1 released a new AI, and then you'll see in a little bit we're going to talk about people canceling Cursor because Gemini 2.5 is gaining praise as the best AI model. And I need to ask people, have you actually used it? I'm sorry, I don't sit here and hate on models too often, but Gemini 2.5 Pro is quite possibly the most dented model I have used in the. It has literally screwed up everything I've asked it to do. Everything. It has not increased my productivity at the slightest little bit. It has only tanked it. I wish they were bringing viewers. They got banned again. I know. Anyways, I don't know. Have any of you used Gemini and found it effective and useful? I literally haven't found it. I keep hearing hype about Gemini 2.5 Pro. I have leveraged it all for the last 2 weeks. 2 weeks? Yeah. Anyways, it has been dented as crap. Anyways, I do like this. If it wasn't built on Gemini, I would trust it a little bit more. But I do like this. Let's talk about Devin. We gotta run. I only have a little bit more time left in my lunch break. Let's talk Devin. Devin, I'm announcing 2 major changes to Devin. They're really one change, but they're 2 changes because that sounds better. The first thing is you can now spin up multiple parallel Devins. Multiple parallel Devins. Sounds pretty cool. The second thing is, instead of costing $500 a month, it now costs $20 per Devin. So if you spin up 10 Devins, that would cost you $200 that month. Now it doesn't state if it's the total number of Devins you spin up. So the one thing that I need to go in there and check with them is, which wasn't clear to me, is if I spin up 10 Devins for an hour and then only use 1 Devin for the rest of the month, do I get charged $200 for that month, or is it by the hour by month? I almost guarantee you it's not, which kind of is scary and not great. If you're going to do this parallel Devin thing, you need to do it by the hour, right? Because if I want to spin up 100 Devins to do a thing and then get it done, I don't want to spend 20 grand on it. So, anyways, that being said, we're going to add Devin to our things to try. We're going to give Devin a shot, see how it compares to Cursor. Yeah, so anyways, that's kind of the thing. The pricing was a change, but the pricing came to that you could do multiple Devins. So it's kind of the same thing. Interesting note, they need software engineers still. So that's also still interesting. They've been hiring software engineers for literally the entire time they've been around. wait, that's not the end of ours. That's not the end of our AI stuff. Okay, 1 second. My bad. All right, something I found interesting. Thought I'd bring it up to you guys. Why developers are canceling Cursor subscriptions. Is this true? I don't know. Let me know in the comments. Let me know in the Discord. From hero to zero, what went wrong? Now, they don't have any proof on this. This is all just the readers' guesses from reading stuff on Twitter or X. There's been a couple bugs, like Cursor actually would uninstall itself on Windows if you closed Windows without closing Cursor. It's a weird bug, very weird bug, but it uninstalled itself, which is pretty funny. Some have been saying that Anthropic's Claude 3.7 marked the beginning of Cursor's downfall. In some cases, Cursor uninstalled itself. These don't make sense to me. If you wanted to use Claude's 3.5, you can select which one. So if 3.7 isn't working for you, which and I specifically stated this, and I have stated it again and again, these people tweak how they prompt the AI to match the AI that they're using. So every single time they've offered a chance for me to select an AI, even if it's a quote unquote better AI, it performs worse because they built their whole system around prompting 3.5 Sonnet, not 3.7. So now, eventually, I think they'll update their stuff to work well with 3.7. But that's going to tail the release of 3.7. So anyways, this is just some of the stuff. I don't know if people are canceling their Cursor subscriptions. It seems a little bit weird. I used to trust Cursor. I never trusted Cursor. Cursor has done bad stuff before Sonnet 3.7. Cursor did some just wild stuff. Now I have to break them down into tiny fragments. I think this goes back to, I have said this. I feel like we're always disillusioned when something gets a little bit better. It's a very real problem that we face with AI. And what happens is that we let's say the AI operates like this. This is a graph. I think it actually holds steady. I think that the AI operates like this. And then a new AI releases and it operates like this. And a new AI operates and it operates like this. It's a little bit better. This is better. And this is over time. What I think happens, I don't have any scientific proof to say this, but what I think happens is, let's make this line blue. Yeah, there we go. Is when it first releases, it feels so much better than the one prior. So this one's green. And so your feelings on it are up here. And as you use it, the more you use it, the more it lets you down. And I feel like you kind of come down like this. You kind of see a chart like this. Where, and then, you know, you get yet another new release. And oh my goodness, it feels so good. And so your feelings are up here. And then you kind of do this. And you might even cross over. So you feel like it's not even as good as the old one at a point in time. And I think that this is unique to LLMs because they don't have classic features. In classical software, a company would release a feature and you would use the feature and the user experience of the feature would be what it was released. It doesn't change over time. There's not this perception of it. Whereas with LLMs, you have a very clear perception of how things are doing, but there's not a clear feature divide, right? So you can't say, oh, well, the new UI is so much better for how I use it. Well, you can't say that because, well, it's a little loosey. It's a little loosey-goosey. That's how they operate. And so there's this whole perception curve of what you're using. Cursor has gained a true intelligence and refuses to live on a Windows PC. It's past. It's past. It just uninstalls itself. Anyways, I don't know. What do you guys think? Do you think it's this? Do you think it's something else? What causes people to be like, I know every single time a new LLM is released, people are like, we've gotten Gen AI. It's sentient. And then people are like, 1 month later, they're like, guys, this stuff is borked. It doesn't work right. I don't know how to use it. I'll take you to this. I found a pretty cool Reddit post. Cursor's path from hero to zero while I'm canceling my annual subscription. Sonnet was the beginning of the end. Cursor was noticeably losing precision, even before Sonnet 3.7. And this is why I go back to this, where I feel like we get disillusioned and we actually drop below its thing. And I feel like, because like these models don't actually change for the most part. Like, they are what they are. They were trained and now they are what they are. They're not tweaking him behind that. Even before Sonnet 3.7, Cursor was noticeably losing precision, could foolishly solve simple tasks or not see the related code it should see. I have a feeling that even then the team was working on reducing the context or modifying the server-side operation because these single cases were quite numerous and frequent. So, I don't know. Again, I don't understand this. I honestly do not get Gemini. Please, if you use Gemini, let me know. It has been the worst. Like, I would like to use ChatGPT 3.5 Turbo before Gemini. It's that bad. It's that bad for me. It has literally, I asked it how to do stuff inside of GCP, like something that should be intermittently, and it told me wrong stuff. It told me, hands down, wrong information on what it should Anyways, it was bad. Maybe the AI learns that the users are idiots and gives up on them. Possibly. It's just more sentient than we thought it was. That's the case. It's not dumber than we thought it was. So there's some changes to Copilot. So now there's actually different levels of Copilot. So there's the free mode, the free version, there is the paid version, and now there is a premium Pro Plus plan. So kind of some of the changes that came into effect with this. was that the free model has very tight requests and can't use extra models. The pro plan has more unlimited requests for the basic, for I believe it's Chat GPT 4.0. That's like the standard backing model, but then it has kind of really restrictive number of requests for other models outside of Chat GPT 4.0. And then the Premium Plus models give you many more models that you can select, as well as many more premium requests. It goes from like 500 to 1,500. The Pro Plus plan also brings the Copilot agent. So if you were wanting to try the agent, which I was wanting to try, you need to use the Pro Plus plan for those premium features for the agent. You were whelmed? It was fantastic way of saying it. So anyways, that's kind of the changes. I'm gonna release not over, not under, just whelmed. Fantastic. So if you want to read more on it, go give it a shot. I would say that I'm kind of in the same boat. They've never replaced my ability. They've never really empowered me that much. I see where maybe in the future they could be. And, you know, I have acquiesced that I think I am about 10 to 20% more efficient with AI than I was a year ago. I have found things that it's really, really good at, and I leverage it for those things. And it doesn't waste my time when leveraging it for those things. It's actually really good for doing those things. And yeah, I'm happy to leverage it for those things, and I think it makes me more efficient. I don't 10 to 20% faster is way different than 10x, but we can talk about numbers. You know, multiplication is difficult. Sam Altman hasn't had to deal with firm numbers in his mind, because a 10x would be like 10 of me, which there's actually some really solid reasons why I don't think that they'll reach that, an individual being 10x. And a lot of those reasons come from like process and management and things like that. And we can get into where I don't actually think you'll see 10x, but we'll 10% vibing. Yeah. He was maybe 10% vibing while getting those numbers. Now, an interesting thing here, Microsoft came out with some new research. AI models from OpenAI, Anthropic, and top AI labs are increasingly being used to assist with programming tasks. Google's said that 25% of new code at the company is generated by AI, blah, blah, blah. You'll hear a lot of stuff. I challenge this, 25% of new code. I feel like this is wrong, but we'll talk about why I think you could come to this number. You can make numbers work. Because like, oh, did it generate it, but then got tweaked? Do you still count it if it got tweaked? I don't know. I'm sure that they did. So this study that Microsoft basically said, an environment for AI coding tools to learn how to debug code like programmers. This was an interesting read, because basically their conclusion was that AI sucks at debugging. It actually is not great at debugging. I don't have more to say about that. That's it, actually. That's it. Yeah. I gotta hurry up because I only have 15 minutes left and I have more stuff to go. I know, 2 weeks away. You know what? Microsoft turned 50. There we go. We can move on from Microsoft. Bill Gates has published the original source code to Microsoft to celebrate the 50th anniversary of Microsoft. So you can go check that out. It's on GitHub. So go for it. Awesome. Let's move on. One of the things I really wanted to bring up was this report here. This was super cool. Yeah. Anyways, this was super cool. So basically, a year of Rust in ClickHouse. So ClickHouse didn't stop being in C++. They very much pointedly said, we're writing the core server in C++. But they wanted to make it so that you could do add-ons in Rust and be part of the build pipeline for ClickHouse. And this was their journey to support both, and some of the weird things that they had to deal with. So some of them were supply chain, some of them were the complex routers. This one was actually really interesting for me because I've always liked the lack of panics, the lack of exceptions, and more of the error values. And this was actually a problem with how they were architected, because they actually leveraged panics to propagate through the stack and be reported by the server's query processing thread. And so they actually had to deal with this difference in how, in Rust, errors are values. And then this goes into sanitizers. In Rust, you don't need sanitizers, but in C++, you do have sanitizers, and they actually needed access to the Rust code since it's all getting compiled together, because msan needs to know the memory throughout the whole thing, or else it can't actually do its job for the C++ side. So I love this article. I liked this a lot. In each case, they gave examples of how they fixed it from the C++ and the Rust side. So what you'll see is they'll say, we solved this problem. And this is actually the code to solve the problem. It's actually just the diff of how they solve the problem. And sometimes just the selection. Sometimes it's a PR that solves the problem. Sometimes it's just, this is the solution to the problem. And that's fantastic. It was just a fantastic read. There was a ton of work that went into this. The airplane GIF is amazing, yeah. So anyways, I thought it was actually really, really well done. I thought that it covered a lot of things you wouldn't have thought about. And yeah. I mean, I didn't think about sanitizers. I didn't think about the error handling, like the panic. I didn't think about those things and causing problems. So this was really cool. So I recommend you check it out if you're interested. All right. KubeCon Europe, Marantis is K0S and KS Motron join the CNCF sandbox. This is really, really, really cool. Everybody here probably knows I kind of like K0S, and this is what I've run in my home lab. And the fact that they're joining the CNCF gives you one big thing. I don't care about most of the things the CNCF will say, but basically when they join that, they give the ability to change their licensing over. No longer do you feel like you're going to get rug pulled. Like, oh, I love this thing, I'm going to adopt it, and then I'm going to get rug pulled. Can't do that. That's like the biggest thing of these two projects joining the sandbox. I can now speak higher of them because I don't have that worry. And it makes sense. Marantis's profit isn't from these. They never were looking to sell those things. These were a means to an end for them, not the end. So that's really cool. This should have been in security, and I missed it. Ubuntu's Linux security bypass requires manual migrations. So basically, in Ubuntu, there is an issue if you're running Ubuntu, but we're all running Arch, so it doesn't really matter to all of us. But I wanted to let you guys know, just in case, there is actually a way to escape namespaces now, and it's because of poorly provisioned app armor. So the actual fix is a manual update to your app armor, and yeah, I don't know why that's down here under open source. That was my bad. Anyways, let's move on. Akamai announced today that they are providing the hosting services for kernel.org. So that's cool. And that's it. I gotta run. That's the end of the news for me. Sorry, it's a little scatterbrained. Like I said, it's been the longest week. Tomorrow is going to be a chill stream because I have had a long, busy, tiresome week. And so we're going to chill and rag. We're going to rag and chill. Chill and rag. Yeah, I don't know what the exact saying is, but that's what we're going to do.